Alright guys, HyDra back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far as the Nadeshot versus Crimsix drama makes way for the Black Ops 2 Throwback Invitational this weekend. MBoZe has given his thoughts on Crimsix and says, look, this guy has got the most accolades ever. He's one of the most things ever in Call of Duty. Why does he keep sending his focus onto burning bridges with all these other guys? There's been plenty of players over the last few years Crim has burnt some bridges with, plenty of videos that Crim was going to release on certain subjects that have never come to light. Is it time that Crimsix changes his ways on this stuff? Is it ever going to happen? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, big announcement here from the newly Carolina Royal Ravens that they are bringing in BrianSaintt as their new general manager and head coach. This is this kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. They did tease a Rostermania announcement here. Of course, BrianSaintt, formerly of the Minnesota Rocket from the last couple of years, and there's been many community memes about this guy because, look, given the talent that he's had at his disposal, hasn't, you could argue, done all that much with it so far, but I'm happy that he's still got a gig back in the CDL. Some people would wonder why, but still, I'm happy that he's got a gig, and hopefully it works out right. But yes, I do wonder which players he will bring under his tenure, because as BrianSaintt says, incredibly excited for this next chapter. We know that JurNii is still on the Minnesota Rocket side, and I don't know what's going on with that G2 partnership, because we haven't really heard more about that yet, to be fair. But BrianSaintt's now going to Ravens, and, well, we'll see what team he decides to put together as the GM and the head coach. A good way to save money for these organizations. I think that this is probably a decent thing to do. Do you really need a GM and a head coach? Can they not be the same person? They probably can. So that's what they're going to do in this case. Now, we don't know yet, and from the rotation says, wake up, babe, the Ravens roster just got leaked to my DMs. JKL says it actually doesn't exist. So maybe a bit of bait there by Ant. I don't really know. But the belief is that they're going to have to decide something kind of soon. In terms of Saint's career as a coach, it ain't looking that good. I mean, yes, he was on Minnesota for the entire CDL period, really. And yes, they got that win at the Stage 5 Major. The team they built going into Vanguard, or actually, no, the Cold War team was just so bad that I still can't even believe they put Attached, Major Maniac, Priestahh, and Accuracy together. That didn't work. They brought in Stanley, it got better. Last season, they built what on paper was a pretty decent team, but then there were still questions. Fame was brought in, an SMG and Challengers to run an AR. That didn't work. He was much better when they put him on the sub. And then Attach, when he got benched from the team, said that he was kind of getting forced to play in a way that he didn't really want to. So I don't know whether that relationship might be a little bit of a question as well in terms of whether Attach can go to Ravens. Because as I say, if you move fast, I still think that these three remaining teams can form a decent roster. But the problem is that you'd think that maybe Attach could be on that roster, or Clay could be on that roster, and I don't know. I mean, Clay and Saint have some history as well, way back to the World War II Black Ops 4 days, but it is a little bit interesting how during the Black Ops 4 season, United, they basically got rid of Saint as their coach. They brought in Facento, and then they went on to win, like, everything, including champs. So he's not exactly got the best CV, but I'm happy that he's got, well, something to work on going forward. We'll see what roster he decides to put together. Now, speaking of MBoZe and Crim, they're actually going to be playing with each other in a few days' time, October the 1st, on this OpTic Texas versus OpTic Legacy match, because Formal can't play in this because he's got the Halo World Championship coming up, so it's going to be BoZe, Crim, Karma, and Scump. Now, this was going to be on Black Ops 3, but I believe that they thought, as of yesterday, that, well, Dashy and Kenny especially have been playing a lot of Black Ops 3 for the throwback stuff. So, and maybe the Dynasty feel like that's a bit of an unfair advantage. I get it. It's a bit of a shame in the sense that it would be nice to see. Okay, it's not the Dynasty team, there's no Formal, it's BoZe, but it would have been nice to see 3 of the 4 of the Dynasty members back together on Black Ops 3 to play against the new guys, and still I think it would have been kind of competitive because, you know, Shotzzy on that game, Pred on that game, you don't really know, you know, what they're going to do. But anyway, they've changed their mind, and it's a bit sad for me as an absolute, you know, Black Ops 3 simp, to be honest, that they're not going to be playing that game, but they will be playing Ghost. I mean, we can see here, change of plans back to Boost, and, you know, the Ghost emoji, implying that's what they're going to be doing. And, you know, I think this is pretty cool as well, to be fair. COD Ghost is the best search and destroy experience, in my opinion, like, ever in competitive COD history. I love Search and Ghost. It's just so fantastic. And if you guys haven't watched much of it, then this is going to be a good chance to do exactly that. Would there be any... Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, these guys, of course, played back then. And, well, even, you know, the OpTic Texas boys didn't really. But they are a proper team. So you know, maybe it'll be relatively evenly matched. I don't know, but it's going to be exciting. And as Crim says, looking forward to this. Hopefully we get a boots game from the past. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be Ghost. Like, all things considered, I think that implies Ghost and, you know, experience versus youth who you got. I think, honestly, on Ghost, I would kind of favour the Crim, Scump, Karma, and MBoZe team. But we'll see. It depends what they do, right? If they bring in, I guess they'll bring in Domination, they'll bring in Blitz as well. So, you know, if they had Nadeshot to play Blitz, he was an absolute killer in that game mode. So, yeah, anyway, that's the change of plan on that one for now. But this weekend is the off-season 2, beginning today. Later on, there's Team Scump versus Team Zuma, which would have been Team Scump versus Team Nadeshot, of course. But, yeah, that's not happening anymore, unfortunately. So it starts at 12 p.m, I guess, local time in Texas, which is 6 hours behind where I am here in the UK. But we've got to talk a little bit more about this whole Crim versus Nadeshot drama. This was, you know, well, there were some screenshots going around of the World Championship in Advanced Warfare where they went out and, you know, Nadeshot carrying the boys. I think this might have been Nadeshot's, basically his final map before retirement. I'm pretty sure that OpTic, after losing, they had to go on to play a playoff for 7th place. They had to play Team Caliber to see who would get 7th, who would get 8th. So, and I think they OpTic won that. So technically, I think that was their last series. But the last series that really mattered was this one, I believe, where they lost to FaZe Red, of course, Aches' team, who then knocked him out the next year as well when he was on Cloud9. And kind of a remarkable final map of Nadeshot's career in a way, where he's 23 and 14, and he's getting kind of costed by the 2 greatest players ever, Scump and Crim. So just to give you guys the quick rundown, Crim made a statement on the OpTic Dynasty podcast that probably, well, either was true or wasn't true. Nadeshot said it wasn't true at all. Crim says it was. I got it from somewhere, and then he said he was going to make a video on it. And there's been, I mean, how many videos has Crim said he was going to make over the last few years? The Hook situation, when he said he almost crashed his Porsche because he was like talking to Hook on the phone or something wild like that. I don't know what happened with, like, even there was some drama with Vivid. There wasn't much drama with Vivid, I don't think, but, you know, Crim said he didn't even know what Vivid's first name was, and there was the drama with HyDra, the drama with Daryl, and now this drama with Nadeshot, right? Like, it doesn't really stop with this guy. And, you know, eventually he decided, all right, I won't make a video on it. Nadeshot, unfortunately, decided as a result to step away from playing in the Black Ops 2 throwback this weekend. And Nadeshot said in the video, look, you know, he feels like he's feeling more emotional about this than he should, and he forgives Crim and says, like, he accepts his apology for this. So it's kind of more of like a Nadeshot versus Nadeshot thing rather than Nade versus Crim at this point. But still, it has culminated in the scenario we currently find ourselves in. So MBoZe comment on this, of course, who watched the podcast, I'm sure, and, you know, he's going to play with Crim in a few days' time in that OpTic Legacy, New OpTic Texas match they're playing. It just gives his thoughts on Crim in general. Now, I will say there was a bit of beef, actually, between BoZe and Crim a little while ago over the Rich and Lonely brands that BoZe has. There was a clip that Crim came out with on stream basically saying that he would never do a collab with RNL. You know, he doesn't think that it's a good brand. And he just went on a bit of a tirade about it, probably for no real reason. And it's just another example, really, of Crim. You know, maybe he doesn't need to say these things. Maybe he doesn't need to burn some of these bridges with certain players, especially when, you know, he's pretty much solidified, at least in terms of accomplishment, as the best to ever do it in competitive COD. And some of the things that he says and does maybe aren't what might be done by, you know, the all-time great of another sport, shall we say. So this is what BoZe has to say.
What I think about the Nadeshot beef, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't be understanding, like, where, like, people be. I don't know. I wouldn't have said it. Like, think about it.
Oh, it is a vibe today.
Prior to him getting on the podcast,
what a post snap.
there was an issue. Remember that whole thing where he was saying, like, he wouldn't go on the podcast, all this shit, like, then you get on the podcast and you use that time to, like, say something bad about someone who put you in a great position. It's just weird. I don't know. I just wouldn't do it. That's just my opinion. You're supposed to use that time not to talk about anyone else. You feel me? That's to talk about y'all's success. My guy is the most winning Call of Duty player of all time. The best, like with all the accolades and all that, the best Call of Duty player of all time. Why the fuck does so much shit be bothering him? You feel me? Like, bro, if I was him, I'd be in my own bubble. It'd be like so much shit be like, I'd be in my own little bubble. I wouldn't have time. I'm the winning Call of Duty player of all time. I'm not even trying to be in no bullshit. I'm not trying to have disagreements with anyone. Like, what's the point?
You got hella time now, brody.
I'm back.
And I also, I'm gonna keep it a band. I gotta keep it real. I gotta keep it real.
Love you guys, man. Appreciate people that show up and show love.
In my brain, like how my brain works,
we call
what I said, what I just told you guys stands, right?
Oh.
And then on the other side, it's like,
oh, I didn't even realize I was unmuted, bro.
Someone got to be like, maybe think like, should we
do we
this
have a
in?
fifth or
you
no?
feel me? Like, is this gonna piss Nate off? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, someone gotta care a little bit.
Because I just realized I was.
Like, Hex been busy. You feel me? If Hex was able to watch that, like,
That's funny.
whole
We about
thing,
to have Schoolboy
if he wasn't,
in some Val games.
if he was able to watch that whole thing, I can almost guarantee you Hex would have let that part in, or you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I mean, Crim is gonna say what the fuck he wants anyway.
We were just talking about him.
There's nothing you can really do.
Yeah.
This was also the at least a screenshot from the video of like Crimsix's thoughts on BoZe's R&L brand. This is quite a long time ago now at this point, well over a year I think. But still, I did think about it when I heard this from BoZe, just because like I'm sure BoZe feels like, damn, this guy, he's at it again type thing. I also agree with BoZe's point towards the end where he said, look, at the end of the day, if Hex had maybe have gone through this with a fine-tooth comb and he wasn't busy for the weekends, he might have had a different perspective on it, because I don't know how long that episode was and what they brought it down to. Okay, they brought it down to 1 hour 37 or so, whatever it was. I don't know how long the original cut was, whether it was like 2.5 hours or, because I'm pretty sure Hitch said they might do an extended edition on like the OpTic Nation paywall thing that they have going on. So maybe that'll exist. I don't know. But it was quite, you know, I thought it would be shorter than it was. And there were some things that they left in that maybe, you know, it's good that they did. I'm not, you know, obviously I like watching this content and the spicy stuff is good, but maybe there's some things that they could have considered kind of cutting out, because as I said yesterday, when you're talking about the Nadeshot stuff and Nadeshot isn't in the room, it's always going to cause some questions. And, you know, Crim saying what he said, the, in Nadeshot's perspective, lack of defense he got from his counterparts. So, you know, it never really, I don't think it was ever going to end particularly well, this one. And as BoZe says, maybe if Hex had looked through it, or if someone else in the room said, yeah, maybe we shouldn't keep that in, or what do you guys think about this? Is that going to go down well? Maybe there's something that could be said on that. Because as BoZe says, like, really, it should be about their accomplishments and how things went with that team, rather than trying to bring down somebody else that wasn't in the room. And look, Crim does these things from time to time. But you do have to think that some of, you know, the greatest players in other sports don't tend to, post-career, you know, bring down all their either past rivals or past teammates or past competitors, or even, you know, in the last few years, the HyDra, the Vivid, the Drill, certainly during the New York Subliners days, even the Clayster drama, right? Let's not forget, like, everywhere Crim goes, there's some sort of drama following. Will Crim ever change in this respect? I don't know. But, you know, it does give us some good, juicy content every, 3 or 4 months when Crim gets into some new thing like this, it seems to be anyway. So, yeah, BoZe with some advice, I guess, and BoZe is going to be playing in this tourney and potentially will play against Crim at some point. Actually, I believe that will be the case, because I think Crim and BoZe's team play against each other in the very first round. So that's going to be nice. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this kicks off later today with Arcetes instead of Nadeshot in the Zuma team. But yeah, I still feel like my favourites to win might be Crim's team. They're looking pretty tasty on paper, I'm not going to lie, for a Black Ops 2 throwback. But we'll see how it goes. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.